Hey there, folks, and welcome to another episode of Crit Hit Interviews. I'm Arlyeon, and we're here today with Jimmy Kalheart of Two Kind Studio.
Hi. Hi, I'm Jimmy.
Two Kind Studio being the developers of the action platforming game Pankapu. Now, normally we like to ask a bit of questions about the developers just to get a bit more insight into the people behind the games. So, kicking that off, what's your favorite game?
I think my favorite game is a favorite series. I really like the Final Fantasy series. So yes, that's basically my favorite games.
Where did you start in that series? Because it's like
Uh,
expansive.
I started with the Final
Hmm.
Fantasy 7. Yeah.
Did you ever dive back into the more retro titles, or did you just sort of carry on forward from 7?
Uh, yes. I played some of the old ones, like the 6, and I really like the episodes 3 too. But I never completed the old ones.
6/3
Yeah.
probably has my favorite Final
Oh
Fantasy
yeah.
villain in it, because I just love Kefka.
Yeah, Kafka is great.
Um, Other than that, if you've enjoyed dabbling into the older ones, I'd really recommend 4, and also 9.
Yes, it's four is on my long playing games I should play list.
Oh god, yeah, I know that. Steam's made the list of games that I need to should play. Just
Yes, exactly.
yeah. And so what have you been recently playing?
um, I'm really late on games. So recently I just played Persona 5, and it's just amazing. It's an amazing game.
Hmm. The last one I did was 4, but I've seen people do 5, and it looked like quite fun.
Yes, it's really fun. I love the ambience, uh, the artistic direction is just amazing.
So, moving on from the game subject for a brief moment, any
Yes.
hobbies that you specifically delve into, whether they're gaming related or otherwise?
Um, Hobbies that are related to games. I'm a huge fan of series or movies, so I think it's a little bit linked. And another hobby that I personally like, it's I really like tarot cards,
Hmm.
and and some in some ways it's inspired the a little bit of the creation of not exactly Pankapu, but the universe around the game.
Uh, would you care to clarify on that?
Um, I can't really clarify that because we don't have already shown everything we wanted about the universe of Pankapu, because Pankapu is just the first brick of um, a larger universe we want to develop at
Okay.
Toucan Studio.
So then, moving on to the next little part of this intro, then, what got you into game development?
I'm I think like many people in the game industry, I've always wanted to work in games. I was fond of games since I was, I think, 6. Um, and when I was maybe 12, I saw a making of a game that I really liked at that time. Um, in France, the game is known as Little Big Adventure, but
Oh,
I think
Little Big Planet?
yes, you know. No, 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 no. It's a French game, but it's the name is even in France is in English, and it's Little Big Adventure, but it's an old game. But I think in US it was renamed The Relentless, I think. It's a French game, so I don't know if it's really known here. It was a PC game, and it was one of my favorite games. And I saw a making of the game, and with my child eyes, I said, "Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do with my life," and that's what I did.
So it is sort of something you've always wanted to do then.
Yes, yes.
So, in that regards, what sort of skills has game development required you to put to use, and what sort of path did you have to take to get here?
Um, in my position, because I was on Pankapu, I was game designer, storyteller, and producer, and of course these jobs required a lot of imagination, of course, but also they need. I had to be really. I can't find the English word. Sorry. I had to be really focused. Really, I had to anticipate a lot of things, to have a good overview of the production. So it was both creative and more management, I think. Yeah.
Fair, fair. So, how did you meet your fellow team members for Pankapu?
I meet them during other. They were former coworkers, because Pankapu was and Toucan Studio was not my first professional experience. I worked in other companies before, and my two associates came from two different companies I worked at before creating Toucan Studio. So I pick up one in every company.
All right. So, actually, I guess focusing a bit more on the game itself, since we're on the subject. How exactly
Yes.
did Pankapu come to be?
I'm sorry. I'm not sure I understand the question.
What essentially kicked off the decision to create
Oh,
Pankapu?
yes, yes. The the story behind the game of Pankapu is came when I worked with one of my associates, Jérôme, in another company, and we worked for our work was great, but we worked for other people. It was not really our ideas that were in the game we worked on, and we wanted to create our own universe, our own with our own ideas. And so we imagined our own universe, but at this time we didn't knew we didn't know we would create a company. It was just a dream for us. And so we talked about a universe we wished we could create, and it lasts many years. It's I think 2 or 3 years, and we imagined that during weekends or on evening, etc. And one day we said, yeah, we really want to this dream to come true, but the universe was really huge and we were just 2 people. So we took a little part of this huge universe we created, and we said, okay, we're 2 people, maybe we can get a third, but we won't be a very huge team. So let's start with a platformer. And in our universe, what could be cool with a platformer? And then we created Pankapu, and we wrote its story. So that's why I said earlier that Pankapu is just a little part of a biggest universe that we wish we want to develop in the future.
Because there's a whole lot of material there that you've...
Yes, exactly.
So, actually, on that note, is there any particular material, either gameplay or story-wise, which really helped to bring things together? You've already mentioned that in the creation of the world, you pulled some inspiration from things like tarot cards, and I imagine it's probably from the concepts of what they represent.
Yes, exactly. We put a lot of different things because we like a lot of different things, movies, comic books, mangas. We're also really fond of psychology. So all these different concepts, we wanted to put it in this universe. For example, it's a little bit spoiler for Pankapu, but basically we wrote the story of Pankapu as a psychotherapy for a child that was traumatized.
I sort of...
Yes,
sorry for the
it's not really. It's not really said during the story, but we built the game around this idea. We had this idea in our mind during all the conception of the game.
I'm gonna say, like, it's not overtly said, at least for what the game itself is, but like the idea that the kid is traumatized with, like, I went through and got all the collectibles, those little fragments of memories, and it was very clear, like, they were not okay. They were in a better place than they were, but they had not come from a good, happy situation.
Yes, exactly.
Are there... Okay, so actually this segues perfectly into it, because Pankapu enjoys a rather distinct dual form of narration. There's like the main story thread where you are Pankapu, the guardian, going through the dream world and having a blast, hacking, slashing stuff. But there's those collectibles you get to see of the one having the dream, and the game never really focuses overly on them, but they're sort of like an important underlying thread. My question is, like, what led to the decision to split the narrative in that manner and make that underlying element more or less optional? And will the relationship between those two and the story of that person be further elaborated on in the next entry in the series?
This narrative decision, we took it really early during the production of the game, because at the beginning we just wrote the story of Pankapu, but our universe is mainly around two different worlds that work in synergy together. And we wanted to put a little bit of this synergy in Pankapu in our first game, and it was a good way to add it, because the characters we added in the story of the child, they are really important characters in another story we wrote for another game, and we just said, hey, we wrote a story, the story of Pankapu, but we could link other characters from other stories just in our first game, and make links between our games could be really interesting. So that's why we created this dual narration.
So it's sort of like foreshadowing in a certain sense. The character exists in the universe at large, and you want to display the interlinks between
Yes.
like these two universes, and you're like, this
Yes.
works. This works. Is there going to be more of a focus though on the child, the dreamer, in the, I guess, episodes 3 and 4 / the second game?
Oh, I wish. I can't say anything about it for the moment, but it's really one of my personal plans.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
about
it's
the child's life. Yeah.
it's a thing you'd like to do, but no promises.
Yes.
Would it just
Yes.
be?
Exactly.
Would it just be a storyline elaboration, or if you could have your way, would it also be gameplay, or would that be reserved for whatever their proper game is?
It could be pretty much anything right now, because I have a good overview of the story of the child, but it could be adapted to a game, but maybe it could be adapted to a comic book. Maybe it could be adapted to anything, maybe a novel, or I don't really know right now. But I definitely want to tell this story in any way.
So, beyond just being gaming, then there are potentially plans for the universe of Pankapu to be held in multiple forms of media, all depending.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
In that regards, is there anything currently in the works for other forms of media?
For other forms of media right now, no. But we're currently working on another game right now. That's set up in that is in the same universe as Pankapu. It's not really a follow-up, but it's in the same. It will tell a story that will give, I think, some answers to people who finished the first game and want to know more about the following of the story.
Will it focus on like the denizens of the dream world, whose name eludes me right now, or like the world of the child?
It will be in the dream world. It will stay in the dream world for the next game.
And
But But we'll probably learn a little bit more about the other world also, the world of the child.
Okay. Will it be a similar game style to Pankapu?
I can't say a lot of things about the next game right now because nothing was officially announced. But it should stay a 2D side-scrolling game. But the gameplay will be a lot more different than Pankapu.
Because you're not the Guardian.
I can't say anything.
Oh, okay, okay. Is the next game you're alluding to? Would that it's not episodes 3 and 4, or is it?
I can't say it's not. It's episode 3 and 4, and it's not episode 3 and 4. It's our way to tell the story of episode 3 and 4.
So it's like what an episode 2.5. Here's maybe a different character.
It's how to say it's a new game. So people that didn't play Pankapu will be able to start with this new game. But for people that played Pankapu, it's the story is just after the events of Pankapu. So you will learn a lot of things that happens after the story of Pankapu.
Oh,
but maybe in another way.
In a different point of view. So it's like
in a different point of view. Yeah.
It's an interlinked side story that carries on like continuity, but isn't.
Yes.
That exact. Okay, there. That. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly that. Yeah.
Okay, so here's my question for Pankapu. I'm going to eventually dive, since I've pestered you as much as I can about that current Hush Hush project. Let's dive back into Pankapu. What was the hardest challenge when making that game?
Sticking to planning. Yeah, that was the hardest challenge for us, because we wanted to put a lot of things in the game. I think it was too much for the time and the team that we had. It took a lot of time, but we're happy that we managed to do it anyway. But I think it was the hardest challenge for us.
All right. I'm actually just going to ask this because I'm a bit curious. How crazy was your design document for Pankapu?
The design document was not that much crazy because I wrote a design document early in the production, but to be honest, I think I'm the only one who read it. So it was really useful for me, but each time a member of the team wanted to work on a specific element, gameplay or story or etc. They just asked me, "Hey, what is this gameplay, this feature, etc." And I just said, "Read the document." They said, "Oh, but it's too huge. Just tell me what the feature is," and then I just explained them. So it was that because we were a really small team. But next time I think I will write just small pages on each on each feature, but not a really huge game design document because pretty much no one reads it.
Okay, so on the subject of features, were there any notable or interesting bugs or balance issues that cropped up during development? Because bugs are features sometimes.
Yes, yes. Sometimes bugs became features. Yes, I don't think we had that kind of thing in Pankapu. Of course, we had a lot of bugs. The main bug we had were that sometimes you could go inside the ground, and of course, when you were inside the ground, then you were blocked and just had to restart the level. And that was a really huge bug that we had, and it took us a lot of time to fix it because and every time we fixed it, we had someone in the team that were really specialized in finding these kind of bugs. Because our developer just said, "Yeah, I fixed the bug. Don't worry, you can play it. I just played the whole game and never find it again." And there were another guy, our community manager. He just took the gamepad, played like maybe half a minute, and just we're just stuck in the ground. That was pretty amazing.
Okay, fair. So, were there any bugs, I guess, because I'm going to actually ask into this, is speedrunning was a feature that you guys implement into the game. And I'm curious as to A, what led to the actual decision to implement speedrunning, and B, if there were any bugs or the like that ended up being very useful to the speedrunning community that you decided to leave in or didn't.
So the time attack mode, we didn't plan to add a time attack mode at the beginning of the production, but it's our community who gave us this idea because we did a lot of events like Paris Games Week or Gamescom, and some fans came to see us and to test the game, and they came back over and over with timers, and they just wanted to beat their own time or their friends' time because they were faster. And they did that during the events on the demos, and then we said, yeah, they seems to really have fun just with the timer. We should add it in the game. So that's what led us to add the time attack mode. But I don't remember any bug linked to these or glitch linked to time attack. At the beginning of the game, we with the Ardor outfits, players were able to dash continuously without stopping, and it was faster than walking. So we had a little cooldown between the dash to avoid this.
Okay. So, is there anything that didn't make it into the game that you really wanted?
Yes, there were a concept that I really liked, at the beginning of the production, we wanted to add a merchant, and I really liked this concept because our merchant was the god of death. You had to because the god of death were also the god of the merchants, so you had to deal with him, and I really liked this idea.
Wait a second.
But
was this a death and
yeah.
taxes joke?
Not really, but it's
that's still
it's
hilarious.
yes, yes. We wanted to have this kind of dichotomy between death and selling. Yeah. But if we wanted to add a merchant, we should put a lot of stuff to buy, of course, and it was really huge. So we preferred to remove this, even if I really liked the concept of a death god merchant. But maybe we'll add it in a future game. I still keep this idea.
Like the 2.5 or episodes 3 and 4?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Was the merchant god the Soul Keeper, who was mentioned in the Kickstarter as a possible goal?
Yes, it's the same character. Yes.
Okay, so in that regards, I'm curious as to if there is actually any plans of implementing him as the fight still.
No, because we don't want to develop Pankapu further. For us, the game Pankapu is finished, but we want to develop the story in other games.
Fair enough.
So yes, so the game Pankapu is finished, but the story continues in another game.
So here's another question sort of linked to the prior one is, was there any features or elements that you'd originally had been in the process of implementing but decided against? You've mentioned, for example, there was the shopkeeper that you wanted to implement, but was there anything you actually trimmed out of the game system-wise?
No, I think we put it pretty much every element we wanted in the game. Yes.
All right. So, lastly, what's your favorite memory of just watching someone play your game?
I think it's not one precise memory, but when we were on our first event, we showcased Pankapu in Paris Games Week. It was really a really early build. It was even not an alpha, it was more a prototype. But we saw a 5-year kid that was just amazed by the game. It was really hard for him to play it because it was too hard. But he didn't want to leave the game because he really wanted to play it, and then I understand it was the reason why I make games, just to have this kind of reaction. People that just like it and watch the game with the child eyes, and just want to go deeper in the story and in the game.
So that's covered most of the things I do believe system-wise for this. So currently, I have, and we've already sort of touched on the upcoming question, but Pankapu leaves off on this like cliffhanger. It's the game itself for what you're doing and what you're setting out to do, you do, but then it leaves this very interesting story detail and a very, very potentially dark like sequel hook there. And you've mentioned that this is going to be slightly carried on, or at least it'll be touched on in the sort of the 2.5, the episode 2.5,
Yeah.
like the middle game. Do you have an idea of when episodes 3 and 4 will be? Are they going to be being developed at the same time as this other title, or will they be coming out after?
No, it's our current production.
Okay,
So yes, we're actually working on it.
so is it you're working on episodes 3 and 4 as well as the side story at the same time?
It's the same game.
Oh,
It's our way to it's our way to tell the story of episode 3 and 4, because the episode 3 and 4 are just something we wrote, but it's we basically we wanted to tell the story from the point of view of Pankapu. But we thought it was more interesting to tell this story in another way. So we don't call these games these game episodes 3 and 4, but it tells the story we wrote as episode 3 and 4.
so as far as playing, okay, so since you mentioned it's going to be from a different point of view, does that mean that more or less our adventures as that character are done for now, as the Dreamkeeper, and we're going to be taking over this new person carrying forward to find out how that story resolves?
I can't really answer this question, but you will learn what the characters what happened to the characters after the end of Pankapu.
Okay, because I had been very curious as to how the gameplay might have been changed or expanded upon, because given you spend the 1 and 2 building up this character, the Dreamkeeper, I'd been curious if there had been plans to allow players to take on that role again and use some of that data, the stuff that you'd gathered in the first game, and carrying it forward into episodes 3 and 4, or if it would be sort of like Mega Man's chronic problem of losing all of his power-ups between games, because I guess he dumped them at the side of a river to hide the evidence of murdering robot masters. I don't know.
Yeah. No, you won't be able to take stuff between the two games, but there definitely will be links between the two. Yeah.
Okay. And I take in that regards, then we don't need to worry about how the affliction that the Dreamkeeper acquires at the end of the game, and not elaborating any more on that, influences gameplay then? Because that had been also a matter of curiosity.
Hey, of course, but I can't answer this question without spoiling a lot.
Okay. So that, I believe, does answer more or less all the things I've been curious about what comes next. If there's a tentative ETA on when players might be able to expect it releasing, even in the ballpark of a year. I've noticed fans of the game are rabid for any details, at least on the Steam forum.
Yes.
So what is the year at least that you guys are aiming for this next entry in the series?
For this next entry, we want to make a pretty fast, with quotes, fast production. So I wished we could release it next year, but that's my personal wish. I can't assume it will be the case, but we wished we could release this sequel next year.
So the hope is for 2019, but realistically, it may end up releasing 2020 at the minimum.
No, I really hope it will be next year, but I can't. I'm not sure right now that it will be possible.
All right. So that's, I believe, more or less all of my questions on the gaming front. I definitely do look forward to touching base with you once more once the game is closer to release or
Yes.
has released. Anything? Do you have anything you'd like to share with the audience, or words you may have for any aspiring devs who watch the show?
For other aspiring dev, don't lose your passion, even if the way is hard. It's really interesting, really amazing. I'm really, even if it was difficult and we didn't earn a lot of money, to be honest, with Pankapu, but personally, we're really proud that we were able to release a game. Moreover, release a game on PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. It's a personal achievement, I think, and that's one thing we are proud. And even if we're not millionaires with this with this game, it's a little bit poetic, but I think we're millionaires in our hearts. And that's a thing we should keep in mind, and everyone should keep the strength to live their dream and to try just try to make it, because it's possible.
And I'd argue that for you, that considering you have fans so rapidly waiting for the next entry in the series, you've at least done a very good job of making something people are very passionate about.
Thank you very much. That's what drove us. That's what we helped us to keep the work, because of course sometimes it was a little bit hard to stay up for the production, but every time there were a downtime, we had already our fans, our Kickstarter backers also, that said, go on, your game seems great. We want to see it happen. And when we see that people really liked the game and want to see a sequel, that's something that. Yeah, that's great. I can't find my word, but it's really great, and that's why I'm really happy to have this job and this adventure. Yeah.
Actually, on that note, are there any plans of starting up another Kickstarter to help with the production and the funding of the next entry in this series, or are you guys more or less
Right,
able to support it on your own at this juncture?
right now, we don't plan to make a Kickstarter because, first of all, making a Kickstarter is really hard, and it's harder and harder as the time passes. And the other point, and it's really important for us, is that for our previous Kickstarter, we released the game, but we are still have to produce some goodies. And I don't want to start another Kickstarter without having
Fulfilled the ones from the prior?
yeah, fulfill the, yes. So I want to fulfill and produce the goodies and send them to our previous backers before starting any other Kickstarter. I think it's really important
What goodies are left to
to do it
produce?
the good way. We still have to produce the plush and the fix the oh, I can't find the word in English. The statue. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So, do you have any indie projects that you'd like to share with the audience that you're following and passionate about?
I think it's I know the game has just been released recently, but I really liked Celeste. It was just a really good game, and I think it's the game the indie game I just really liked the most recently.
You can't see me, but I'm like trying to fist bump you over the internet. Very good soundtrack, very good game. Many hours of running into spikes.
Yes, it's really hard, but I really like the level design is just pretty much amazing, and as a former level designer, yeah, it's really good work.
I gave up on life at the B-sides. I got like halfway through them and was like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, the temple was like the castle in Ninja Gaiden. I was just like, oh, the game is done. I'm just not going past here. It's fine.
Yes.
So yeah, to those folks in the audience, you can buy Pankapu on Steam. For news, there's at Too Kind Studio on Twitter, and plus they do have a website you can check out. The links to all of these are in the video's description. I do believe you also have a Facebook.
Yes, we also have a Facebook. You can follow us. We have two accounts, one for Toucan Studio, but it's not really. We don't use it pretty much. We're more using Pankapu. You can find us with Pankapu on Facebook too.
Is there anywhere else you'd care to send people?
Just play the game.
Fair enough.
Yes, just try it.
So in that regards, je vous remercie pour arriver sur cet épisode. Sorry, I could speak French the whole time.
Yes, you did it. Yes.
But thank you for showing up on this episode of Crit Hit. It was a lot of fun to be able to talk to you, especially because I had been following the game since it first showed up on Kickstarter and had been really into it concept-wise. And then I got to dig into the game itself and had a blast, got to the end of episode 1 and was like, damn it, where's episode 2? And then got to the end of episode 2 and was like, this is amazing. And it ends on such an amazing point. and was like, damn it, where's episode 3? So, I mean, this has been a lot of fun for me to find out what's coming next in the series and just to be able to sort of pick your brain over thoughts and ideas for what's coming in the universe at large. I look forward to seeing this particular chapter of the Pankapu universe sort of resolved and to see how you actually further build that overarching story and where it'll go and how you'll innovate.
Yeah, I hope you like it. I hope.
But yeah, for the audience, if you enjoyed this interview, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more of this kind of content. There's a little bell icon. You can click it to get alerted when we do stuff. And remember that if you'd like to support small creators, sharing helps a great deal. Beyond that...
Yes, it's really true.
Beyond that, I will catch you folks on the next episode, and I honestly appreciate your patronage in just viewing these videos. And yeah,
Bye.
seriously, like, also just thanks for being here, Jimmy. It was awesome.
Thank you very much.